Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. A little bit of a different setup today. There's just a lot going on. So I'm in the office today. So you guys have seen the setup a decent amount of times. But despite the office change, the location changing, the Euros and all the sports that are going on have been just as crazy as the start. So, we have so much to talk about today. We have the Euros, Copa America, Wimbledon, Stanley Cup Finals, some news after the Stanley Cup Finals, as well as the Austrian Grand Prix weekend. So, that's all we're going to talk, all of the things we're going to be talking about today. Plus, I'm going to try something new today. We're going to give a couple of breakdowns because there's a couple of things I want to go over using video again, including a full highlight reel of USA Panama because we have to talk about what happened yesterday. So, let us begin with the Euros. So, last time we were here, and I'll share the screen in a moment, we were going over groups A and B, and we knew the situation. Croatia bottled it. They're probably out. Group A saw Germany and Switzerland through automatically. Hungary, they got a little bit nervous. They had the nerves because they had to wait to see how everyone else did in order to have a chance to make the knockouts. Croatia were done. Italy, along with Spain, were already through. Group C started it off a little bit weird. Netherlands, Austria, and France were all in the running for the top spot. Austria had to go out and win and have France drop points. The Netherlands had to win, and France essentially had to win as well because they're all on around 4 points. Well, things did get really weird on Tuesday morning. We started it off with Austria beating the Netherlands. This game was nuts. And we're going to go take a look at the scores here, chat. It started off with an own goal, so the own goal supremacy continues. Cody Gakpo responds. Schmid and Sabitzer grab goals for Austria, including the game winner from Marcel Sabitzer. Memphis Depay got an equalizer to make it 2-2, but the aforementioned Sabitzer did score his lone goal as the winner to send Austria in Berlin as group winners to the knockouts. Netherlands, because of France doing literally nothing, finished in second because France bottled it to Poland. This is getting out of hand. What the hell is going on? Mbappe, the Ninja Turtle joke continues. He scores his first ever Euros goal, by the way, which is kind of outrageous that we're even at this point. And Lewandowski got a penalty as well. Poland got a penalty, but they missed it. But because of an infringement on, I believe it was I don't even remember if it was the goalkeeper or a France player, the referee called it correctly, and Lewandowski had to take it again. He converts, 1-1 draw, France are in second. So this group ends as Austria in first, France second with Netherlands third, all three of them going to the knockouts. We're just going to briefly talk about what happened in Group C. Nothing happened. Everyone went 0-0. England played like crap. They won the group by doing nothing. Slovenia, shout out to them. Congratulations, they made the knockouts. Because they drew 3 matches and had a better goal difference than Hungary. Denmark also drew 3 matches, but because of better fair play, meaning that they had... Let me explain what fair play is. Fair play is like when they get to like all the tiebreakers are the same. We go to fair play, which means who was more disciplined, who got less yellow and red cards. Slovenia, hard tackling, makes sense. They had more yellow cards than Denmark. Denmark, because of less yellow cards, advanced as second. Slovenia go third. They got a terrible draw. We'll talk about the draw in a minute. Which sets us up for Wednesday. And if you remember what was going on Wednesday, here is the situation. We'll start with Group E. Everyone was tied on whatever the points, I don't know, I think it was 3. Yeah, everyone was tied on 3 points. No one drew a match yet. We'll start us off with Romania, who had something to prove because I was very high on Romania, and I thought they were going to go through tied with the top of the group, but finished second because of goal difference. Well, they went out and drew Slovakia, which doesn't help anybody. But what also helped is that Belgium continues to not score and do nothing. They drew Ukraine, So which means everyone finishes on 4 points, and we finished exactly the way we started from a couple of days ago. So essentially, Ukraine is essentially missed the knockouts because they drew too many matches. Ukraine, who had 4 points, is one of the few teams ever in the history of football, or soccer, whatever you want to call it, to miss the knockouts despite having 4 points. That is ridiculous. The fact that we're even talking about this is ridiculous. But more importantly, Slovakia made the knockouts after a group that I had going with 0 points for Slovakia. They went out and got 4 and made the knockouts because they did literally nothing. After Slovakia scored first, then Romania got an equalizer. People were saying that this game was rigged and was fixed or whatever. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good, and there you go. That's your result. Romania wins the group, followed by Belgium and Slovakia. Ukraine, because they got destroyed by Romania on match day 1, they're out on goal difference. So very unfortunate to see Ukraine go. They were a lot of people's favorite to make the knockouts. But another big-time favorite is out, joining Croatia as one of the bigger names to miss the knockouts. Which sets us up for Group F. Georgia, if you remember Georgia, no, not the state Georgia, the country of Georgia, they were in a bad spot. But they had 1 point because they drew Czechia, I believe. Yes, they drew Czechia. They lost their opener to Turkey, but they played well against Turkey. Czechia, who had to do something against Turkey to have any form of a chance, and Portugal, who were top of the group, they were going to rotate because they cannot be eliminated, and Turkey, who needed at least 1 point to make the knockouts. Well, we had another crazy upset, an upset that topped the one with Belgium-Slovakia. Georgia went out and won 2-0. Georgia 2. Portugal 0. Why? We thought the weirdness would be removed already. I mean, yeah, we Belgium, Ukraine, Romania, Slovakia all tie on 4 points, but because of Ukraine bottling it against Romania, they're out. The weirdness couldn't get any more crazy. Here we are. Georgia made the knockouts in their first ever Euros. Georgia knockouts. Georgia. Amazing. I love this tournament. This tournament has had so much weird stuff happen. Like, it's going to get crazy. Oh, by the way, that's the game we're breaking down because we're going to break down the Ronaldo no penalty decision, which I thought was actually correct. But Ronaldo fans are saying that it's fixed. And the other match, how do I wear this? The refereeing was bad. It was really bad, but what would you expect from two of the more physical teams that were basically trying to kill each other? Did Turkey get a lot of yellow cards for doing nothing? Kinda. Did Czechia deserve 2 reds? They did. Czechia, who didn't deserve to be in this game at all, went on conceded it late on it in stoppage time to lose. A draw would have not have put them through anyway. So because Georgia did the bare minimum, but they did win a match, so they won and drew a game. Georgia made the knockouts and eliminates Hungary. So our knockouts are set, but before we go there, and let me load up the bracket for this part. We'll load up the bracket, but we're now going to pull up a YouTube video for today's referee breakdown before we go to our match breakdown. And we're going to use a YouTube video, and I'm hoping y'all can see this. Yes, we can. So, this is the Ronaldo no penalty.
Did not consider the contact sufficient to award a penalty. The referee Sandro Schreier deemed his reaction excessive.
He deserved a yellow. There's the yellow card. Thank you very much, Mr. Referee.
To be pulled back by
acting like a child.
Georgia
Here we go. Here's the pull down. Pause the video. Pause the video. Okay. I see where they're coming from with this. I really do. But let's go back into the video and rewind it a little bit. Because you cannot tell me that this is from how much stronger Ronaldo is. You can't tell me that he's trying to dive for a penalty here. I respect the no call. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. Rewind it one more time. Let's look at this sequence again.
Georgian defender.
know what? Is there a way we can slow it down? So there we go. We're going to go on a little bit of slower speed so I can fully explain this. There's Ronaldo.
Appeared to be
A little bit
pulled
slower. Here we go.
back by
So the ball's going to go
Georgian
into the
defender.
box. Ronaldo, as you can see right here where my mouse is fighting with the center half. We're going to pull it a little bit.
Attack.
Actually, we're going to go back 1 second. Look where Ronaldo's hand is. They're both going at it. Right here, it's in the bottom corner. Look where they are. Right here. They're both battling it out. We continue.
Attack.
And then Ronaldo, who feels the tug. This is a classic dive right here. Feels the tug, falls down in an actual kind of emotion.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
An emotion that you could possibly see a penalty given out. But I actually agree. I mean, because do I think it's a penalty? Maybe. But I don't hate the decision that they didn't give a penalty. And I know people are going to be like, oh, Robbie, you don't know the game. They were battling it out. Ronaldo's trying to go forward. He does get pulled back a little bit. But there's no way a guy that strong should be diving on the ground like that. Come on. I mean, everyone has a brain here, you know. So that's my thoughts on that situation. Portugal conceded again, so they really didn't deserve it. Screw rotating. But let's go to the draw. Here is the knockouts draw for the Euros. We'll start with the top half. We have Spain and Georgia, Germany, Denmark, Portugal, Slovenia, and France, Belgium. Multiple teams bottled it on their way to this spot, especially France, who shouldn't be here, but here we are because they finished second in the group. The big story here is going to be, I think, the top half. Spain, Germany, I did predict them to be facing off against each other in the quarterfinals. Both of them should be rather comfortably through to the next round. They should. Spain should beat Georgia, though Georgia led by Kvaratskhelia, and I forgot to mention Mardiashvili, who put on a field day against Portugal, by the way. He was mainly the reason why they were through in the first place, because if they didn't have a competent goalkeeper, this game could have ended 5-1. But Georgia, led by Kvaratskhelia and the aforementioned Mardiashvili, who I actually said right that time, I'll play Spain. Spain have looked really good. They've looked good against some solid competition. You talk about you talk about Croatia and Italy. Albania wasn't a pushover, though Spain only won 1-0 against Albania, which, sure. They'll be going head-to-head. I have Spain winning that match in the top. Germany, Denmark, I don't see as that interesting, but I do have the Germans going through. Portugal, Slovenia is a trap game for Portugal. The only problem is Slovenia has the ability to not concede and not score. So I don't know. That game could be really boring. And France, Belgium's looked terrible. They only looked good against Romania because Romania were playing a more defensive system. But at the same time, that Romanians attack they're just nervous against Belgium because they haven't been on a big stage like this before. But they've really been able to make an adjustment. France, I think, should get through. France, Portugal, Spain, Germany would be sick quarterfinals, by the way. By the way, round of 16 starts tomorrow and ends on Tuesday. So hopefully after the knockouts, the first round of knockouts, I'll be doing my next video. But I honestly don't know with my work schedule yet. And then we're going to have the bottom half, which is so much worse, but so much more open. We have Romania, Netherlands, Austria, Turkey, England, Slovakia, and Switzerland against Italy. We kick it off tomorrow with Switzerland versus Italy. Now, that game on the bottom has the potential to be really terrible and really good at the same time. Because Italy have looked not awe-inspiring at all. They needed a 98th minute 98th minute equalizer to even get to this point. Switzerland, who have actually looked pretty competent, they drew Germany. But they have looked great against Hungary, and they looked great against Scotland. Well, you would say that, but they did draw Scotland. They looked good in their match regardless. I think Switzerland should win this. A lot of people have been underestimating Switzerland, including myself. I made that mistake because I thought Switzerland was getting old. I didn't think they're as fast as a team like Hungary and Germany. But I was wrong. And I think they're going to have a fun game with the Italians. I do have Switzerland probably winning this, but Italy at this point are unkillable in the knockouts. So listen, in tournaments that Italy qualify for, they're pretty good in the knockouts. England, Slovakia should go to England. By this point, anything can happen. England have looked terrible. They've only scored 2 goals in 3 matches. Interesting to note. They score the same amount of goals as France, and they've both looked bad. Romania, Netherlands, I think, is going to be the best game of the knockouts. The Netherlands have a chance to finish third in their group and make the final. I'm dead serious when I say that. Because the Netherlands have to go out, beat Romania, and then they're going to probably be playing Austria because Turkey does not know how to win a knockouts game for the most part, though Turkey is a good enough team to make it to the semifinals out of this draw. I think they can beat the Netherlands. They just don't know how to do anything on a big stage, unfortunately, which really sucks because that Turkey team's defense has been great, but the attack has been meh at best. They did score that late winner against Czechia, which I thought was awesome. But Austria, they have had something to prove for a long time. They have the ability to go far, but under Ralph Ragnick, they look really good. They only conceded one against France. They should have won the game against France. But here we are. They are won their group still, despite drawing a match. But they're going to be playing Turkey. But as I said, Romania and Netherlands should be fun. I do have the Netherlands winning that match, unfortunately, but I do like Romania's chances. I have them playing Austria. England's going to play, I think, Switzerland. So if I had to think who would go out of the bottom half, I like the Netherlands draw a lot. But don't be surprised if a real underdog makes it out of the bottom half to get absolutely probably killed by Germany or France. Or Spain. Or whoever else wants to make it out of that top half. But the Euros knockouts kicks off tomorrow. It should be really fun. I hope you guys make sure to check it out. It is now time for Copa America. And we will be kicking it off with the matches from Wednesday. So, actually, no, matches from Tuesday. So Tuesday, we started our second round of matches, and we had a very interesting situation. If you remember from Monday, I don't remember if we talked about this on Monday. Brazil went out and drew Costa Rica, which has been probably the most embarrassing result of this whole thing up until yesterday. And Colombia beat Paraguay, so they are flying at the top of the group. But one interesting result happened on Tuesday, and it was a rather uncomfortable match for Canada, because Canada went a man up and did absolutely nothing until late on in the match. Canada gets lucky against Peru because Canada, well, to be fair, Canada should have been up 2 men at this point, but they just couldn't finish anything. They did get a late goal from Jonathan David to win the match 1-0. Peru looked terrible, but they should have had multiple red cards. And then we had the nightcap where Argentina's lack of finishing ability continues. Chile were fighting them off to the very end, but Argentina's late goal by Lautaro Martinez sealed the win for Argentina. They won 1-0 to advance to the next round. Canada will play Chile. Peru plays Argentina in a match that Peru has to get a win out of, which I doubt is going to happen. The winner of Canada-Chile, if we have a winner, will make it to the next round. Probably. Wednesday treated us to a very interesting matchup. On the first game, we had Ecuador. They went out and beat Jamaica 3-1, a match that Ecuador looked really dominant in. They actually really rebounded after that 10-man loss to Venezuela last week. And then Venezuela went out and played Mexico, which, thank God Venezuela won this. Venezuela deserved to win this match, I think. Mexico got a penalty. They missed it. Venezuela got a penalty. They made theirs. Venezuela makes it to the next round, which is actually crazy because Venezuela, in the last couple of years prior to this upcoming World Cup qualifying cycle, they've looked terrible. And here they are, making it to the knockouts, probably winning their group of the Copa America. Well done, Venezuela. You guys deserved it. A nation that's typically known for baseball, if you've watched the World Baseball Classic, you know what I'm talking about, has got 6 points in 2 matches. They've beaten Ecuador and Mexico and have to beat Jamaica to win the group automatically. Ecuador plays Mexico in a match that Ecuador has to win. Same with Mexico. They both have to win the match. Because I believe Ecuador, who really rebounded, I think have the better goal difference right now than Mexico. So a draw, I believe, would put Ecuador through. We'll look at the groups in a moment. And then we have last night. We opened it up with Mexico. Well, not Mexico. We had U.S. and Panama. And for the sanctity of what's about to happen, we're going to watch a highlight reel to fully explain how bad this game was. and we're going to watch a highlight reel today because this is officially today's Basel breakdown. That's what we're calling this segment in the future. We're going to have early on, second minute, Panama's on top of everyone. Here we go. It's Pulisic. He gets tackled. They want a free kick. Fans are like questioning everything. U.S. is going to have the ball battered around, but it's going to go to Weston McKennie. But this goal is going to be disallowed. Why? Because Tim Ream actually gets something earlier on in the play that they're not going to show. Right there, Tim Ream came from an offside position and came back. This goal gets disallowed. It's 0-0 at this point. Everyone is like really confused. I'll also speed this up for everybody. So. Oh, it is on normal. Cool. We continue with the weirdness. The goal is checked. We're going to move forward a little bit. And then after this, we have this collision. Not that cross. Here we go. So let's run you through this whole play. Right here. Ball is going to come flying in. This is the next breakdown play for me. We'll slow this down so you could fully understand why I think this should have been at minimum a yellow. And I think everyone who knows football knows that this play should have been a yellow. Ball's going to come in the middle. Pause right here. A lot of things under the U.S., under the referee considerations, goes into something like this for something that should be a minimum a reckless challenge and a yellow card. I don't have my cards on me, so I can't show you like a visual yellow card. But yes, this play should have been a yellow card. 2 reasons. Look at the ground he covered. He starts from about the D, which is, I'll mark with my cursor. It's right about here. This area here, some footballers call it the D. I call it the D as well. So he starts from about here. He's going to come flying in and collide, not in the air, low into a goalkeeper. That should have been a reckless challenge in the yellow card. Ivan Barton did not have a good match last night. I will say that. But listen, I like Ivan Barton, but that should have been a yellow. And then right afterwards, here's the collision. Matt Turner actually leaves this game eventually. But we're going to go up back to full speed, to normal speed. And we're going to go up to a red card offense. Off the ball. It's going to actually happen down here, and we're actually going to have to slow it down again, which is kind of ironic. We'll slow it down even more. Watch this duel right here. I hope y'all can see my cursor. But right there, you're going to see in the bottom right of your screen a high elbow from Timothy Weah, which VAR the assistant referee actually calls the foul here, which is brilliant officiating. Here's another angle. Look how high this arm comes. Jesus Christ. You forget about this stuff when you're watching the game live. Timothy Weah, like an idiot, gets himself sent off. Serginho Dest would be proud of this challenge because Serginho Dest is not, and Timothy Weah gets sent off in back-to-back years for something totally stupid. This was turned into it was essentially originally a yellow card. We're going to look at what VAR has. This was, we'll see it. That's a red. Get him off the field. That's a red cardable offense. Send him off. No questions asked. I think they got it right. I honestly, looking back on it, they got it right. No problem with me. And then immediately afterwards, Florian Balogun scores this wonder goal. Take a look at it. Bang. Golazo. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff from not Timothy Weah, because he got sent off. That's Balogun. But all hope for the United States started to go down right after this, because right after this goal comes in, I actually got checked for possible offsides in the build-up. It was confirmed. Panama followed this by scoring their own goal, and we're going to take a look at it. There's more reactions. There we go. Here was the goal. Right around Turner's hand. Brilliant finish. Panama get their equalizer. And then nothing else really happens until late on. That's when we're going to go to. So, here's another good chance for Panama. This should have been a penalty, actually, I think, if you really think about it. I don't know how that's not a penalty, but listen, because of how high Carter Vickers' leg came up, I had a problem with that because I think that should have been a penalty, but we're going to continue. Ivan Bartone does not call the penalty. He calls for VAR. No penalty. Very interesting because Carter Vickers' left leg comes in so late. They had the decision. Here's another good chance for the United States. It's Balogun again. He actually gets taken off eventually. This is the 70th minute. So all hell hasn't broken loose yet because we're not up to the point where all hell is broken loose. Another good save from the 73rd minute. Good cross into the box that gets saved by the keeper. Even Horvath comes out. Good play. This should have been a goal. That's the play. How is this not a goal? Wide open man. Ricardo Pepi. I think he's more allergic to scoring goals than Lukaku. I'm getting serious at this point. And then we have this play. Ball on the box. Brilliant finish. Gorgeous finish. In the corner. Off of Horvath's hand. And that's a result. Boom, bang, bada bop, boom, pow. I don't know what's going on. United States of America are likely out of their own tournament in the group stage. Well done, guys. How the hell has this happened? What are we doing? I'm saying we because I am American, of course. What the hell was that? The United States, after the red card, went attacking and then went defensive. 25% possession for the United States, which is actually kind of par for the course at this rate. But Panama wins. Panama is a gift run to the next round because Uruguay is clinched a knockout spot. Because Uruguay won 5-0 in MetLife Stadium to essentially make the knockouts already. Well done to Uruguay, though. They took care of business, plus 7 goal difference. They're not getting eliminated. Which means the U.S. now has to win. And they do not look good enough to win a match. But let's take a look at tonight's matches. After my rant, we have Paraguay, Brazil, and Colombia, Costa Rica. Saturday, we have Argentina playing Peru, Canada, Chile. All to play for. We'll start with this group. Colombia, Costa Rica has the potential to be another snooze fest. Costa Rica does not know how to score a goal. Oh, before I talk about this, one other note about USA and Panama. The United States has only won one match of their last 4 against Panama, and that was a 5-1 in World Cup qualifying. They've lost to Panama twice in back-to-back years, which is hilarious for how bad we are. And I believe the other one was a 0-0 draw. But back to this game. Colombia plays Costa Rica in a match that Costa Rica has to get another point out of. Colombia should win this, but at this rate, I don't know what's going to happen. Brazil, who played terrible, gets to play Paraguay next. Paraguay have to go out and... If Costa Rica or Paraguay win this game, both of them would have imagine both of them win. Both of them would have a good chance at making the knockouts because they play each other on the last day. Brazil, who looked terrible against Costa Rica, they did get robbed of a penalty, though, plays Paraguay in a match they have to win. Should we go to Brazil and Colombia, but at this rate, no one knows. In Group A, again, Argentina, who are already through. We talked about this already. Canada, Chile. Sunday, we have Mexico, Ecuador, Jamaica, Venezuela. Mondays, USA, Uruguay, Bolivia, Panama. And Tuesday, the final day of the group stage, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Paraguay. All to play for in the groups. Before Thursday's quarterfinals, it should all be chaos. Quickly, there was a draw that happened yesterday in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, that we have to talk about. And it is with World Cup qualifying for Asia. And because I love the World Cup, we are talking about the World Cup. If you don't remember, we just finished the second round 3 weeks ago, which it was the giant group stage. We had all this stuff going on. And here are the teams that made it out. Australia, Bahrain, China, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Japan, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, North Korea, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, UAE, and Uzbekistan. The draw was yesterday, and here were the pots. So it's 3 groups of 6 teams, and here are the pots. See pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, pot 4, pot 5, pot 6. You see these numbers over here. That's for your world ranking. Japan, Iran, South Korea, they should all probably make it. Australia, Qatar, Iraq, they have like a good solid shot. Saudi Arabia, who are in pot 3 somehow, uh, we'll talk about how that's controversial later for 2 teams again. Uzbekistan and Jordan are also pot 3. Somehow Jordan's ranked higher than the UAE. I don't know how either. Oman, Bahrain finish up pot 4. China, who have been terrible, but somehow made the knockouts because Thailand had less of a goal difference. They are in the group pot with Palestine and Kyrgyzstan, and pot 6, North Korea, Indonesia, and Kuwait. They probably all don't have a chance. Top 2 advance to the World Cup. So if you finish top 2 in your group, you're going to the World Cup. Congratulations. You get a round of applause. And this qualifying starts in September. So we're going to talk about it again, but this is just like the draw. We're going to talk about the draw and like a couple teams I like making it to the next round. We're not going to preview any games yet because we still have 2 months till this happens. But here are the groups. Group A. By the way, this is where the matches are. Starts September 2024, ends June 2025. Group A, Iran, Qatar, Uzbekistan, UAE, Kyrgyzstan, North Korea. What a draw for Iran. This is the easiest group they could have gotten. I mean, to be fair, they probably want... I mean, they could have played the derby that no one knows about with Iraq, which actually would have been really fun. But they went out, they got Qatar, they got Uzbekistan, they got the UAE, which is... They got their best-ranked pot 4 team, yeah, but Kyrgyzstan and North Korea are doing nothing in this group. Iran is better than everybody, but usually in World Cup qualifying, that doesn't mean absolutely anything. Iran should win this group. Qatar, gift draw for them. I don't think they wanted to play most of the other pot 1s. I mean, this is probably also the most beatable pot 1 team out of the 3, but... Uzbekistan, I like their chances. The UAE, I think they're going to be in the 4th round. Kyrgyzstan could be a sneak pick for the 4th round, but they really need UAE or Uzbekistan to drop points somehow to them. I don't see that happening. Iran, Qatar, that should be fun, though. I think both of them should be through. And North Korea, who've been in the World Cup before, actually. I didn't know that till like yesterday. They will be trying to actually gain some points. We open up with these matches. This is in September, so we're not talking about any of this yet. Group B, not controversial at all. South Korea gets Iraq, Jordan, Oman, Palestine, and Kuwait. Palestine, I don't know about them that much. They did make the next round. They were in that group with a disappointing Lebanese team. I think Bangladesh was in their group as well. They were with Australia, if you remember. They're in Group I with Australia. They are here with Oman and Jordan. All 3 of them should be battling out for the 3rd, and 4th place spots. And to be honest with you, the top 4 could all be in the World Cup and not be in the World Cup at the same time. South Korea got a great draw. They should beat Iraq by like 17. I'm just kidding. That game actually is going to be pretty good. But Iraq, Jordan, Oman, and maybe even Palestine will all battle it out for that 2nd spot. South Korea actually opens with Palestine, so it'll be really interesting to know how Palestine looks in that game. Remember, these games start September 5th. Kuwait's just lucky to be here. Remember, they're in that group with Afghanistan, which is absolutely madness. And a lot of people are claiming India should be here, but India has less of a chance to make it out of this group than Kuwait does. The big surprise team, I think, could be Oman. They've been really bad recently, but Jordan and Oman, I think, will give Iraq a lot of problems, especially Oman, because those two, Oman has more recent World Cup qualifying 3rd round experience. Remember, they finished in 4th in Group B of the previous World Cup qualifying cycle, the final round, where they were in that group with Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Australia. And they beat Australia, and they've gotten results against some of the bigger teams, which Oman knows how to beat the big teams, but struggles against the bad teams. It's a very interesting dynamic. Speaking of Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Australia, welcome to Group C. Japan, Australia, Saudi Arabia. Bahrain and gets really unlucky because they were a sneak team to make it to the World Cup, but they literally have no chance. They will be trying to battle for that 4th round spot, probably with Indonesia. I think Indonesia should have a better chance than China because China have looked really terrible. Remember, they barely beat a Southeast nation to even get here. They get to play Japan in the first game, so have fun. Japan, Australia, and Saudi Arabia, just like 4 years ago, well, the previous World Cup qualifying cycle, will all be battling it out for 2 spots again. Nothing has changed, and I'm all for this. The real question is going to be who's dropping points to each other. I like Japan and Saudi Arabia's odds to get out. I think it's going to be very similar to last time. With Japan and Saudi Arabia, I don't like Australia's chances as much. They're an older squad. Japan has a lot of good players. Saudi Arabia is continuing to develop as a nation. In the realm of football, Australia, I just don't know, but we'll probably know more about them in a couple of months. Bahrain, I think, will be in the fourth round. And we'll talk about the fourth round next year when we get to that point because we still have a lot to talk about today. That was the draw that happened yesterday. Something else happened on Monday that we have to recap. And that is the Stanley Cup Finals Game 7. Your 2024 Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And listen, okay, this game was good. It was a fun way to end it. A 2-1 win for Florida. It wasn't pretty, but they went out and did it. Congratulations for the first, I think it's their first ever Stanley Cup too. So shout out to them. Canada still can't win the Stanley Cup. It is confirmed, but Florida went out and done a good job. They really limited the Edmonton attack. They only allowed them 1 goal in the whole match. And 1 goal in this game after conceding 18 in the previous 3. Sergei Bobrovsky returns to form. He looked great. The whole team looked awesome. Florida's one of their few chances in the next couple of years to make a cup run because people are going to be demanding a lot of money. They have a lot of free agents. We'll talk about that very soon because free agency opens on Monday. Will be a topic, I think, for Tuesday. Will be NHL free agency and how that started. There's already been a couple of moves, but we'll talk about that all I got to remind that for next video. But Florida wins the Stanley Cup. They win 2-1. They deserved it. Edmonton have a lot of questions, though they did solve one problem. Their GM stepped down. Finally, Ken Holland left. He parted ways after their Stanley Cup run, which is brilliant. The Oilers confirmed that they will not renew the contract of general manager Ken Holland, leaving his role after 5 seasons. If you want to talk about a guy who knows how to make a stupid contract, that is Ken Holland. Ken Holland's contract decisions have not been very good. It's really held the team back. They were even lucky to get to the Stanley Cup Finals with the team that they currently have. They could have had much better players. They did not screw up the signing of Zach Hyman as much as a lot of people thought they would. But my God, how did Edmonton get here with Ken Holland as their GM? I honestly couldn't tell you. But Edmonton knows how to trade good players and really not how to get many good players back. It's been a big problem with them as of late, but hopefully with the new GM at the helm, they may not screw this up. They'll try to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals after probably one of their better seasons in the last decade plus. First Stanley Cup Finals with McDavid and Draisaitl, they make it to the final. It's not, and they make it to the final for the first time with McDavid and Draisaitl, and they lose in 7 games. They're that close, but too far away as well. So, Florida wins the Stanley Cup. Will be interesting, though McDavid, I believe, won MVP of the series. I don't know how that works that much. I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but Florida wins the Stanley Cup. A big shout out to them. But ladies and gentlemen, we will now be heading to Wimbeldon. Welcome to Wimbeldon. We're going to go over the draw today. It happened this morning. Here is the top of the draw. If you don't remember what this is the Grass Court Major. It starts on Monday. It starts at like 6 a.m. on Monday. You know I'm not watching the early matches, but here we are. We'll give you some players to watch out for and who I think are my 2 top players that I think will have a good shot of winning, and 2 sleepers that I think could go possibly far. We'll start with the top half of the draw, led by 1 seed Jannik Sinner. He has literally the easiest path to making it to at least the third round. He starts off against Hanfman, and then we'll probably face Barentini in the next round. Fushkovich is actually not terrible, but I don't think he beats Barentini. Jannik, I think, will have a good shot in the Battle of the Italians to make it through to at least the third round. Who I think this will be Carino Busta. I think he beats Greek Spore, but I think that match is going to be pretty fun. But essentially, welcome Jannik Sinner to the fourth round. Next part of the draw, we have Jari and Shapovalov. The players to watch out for this part of the draw will be Ben Shelton, the American. He did lose to a player that's like really low in world rankings a couple of days ago in his tune-up for Wimbledon, so he hasn't been in the greatest form. I haven't beating Bellucci and probably Harris, but if Shapovalov is there or Jari, I think Ben Shelton could lose. But Ben Shelton does know how to show up in big moments, so I do like Ben Shelton's odds. Below him is the inevitable Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov, who is in a draw featuring old man Gail Monfils, old man Manarino, and old man Stan Wawrinka. Dimitrov is essentially playing the equivalent of a retirement home because all these guys are like older than 35. The surprise player will always be Gael Monfils for me. Monfils, who did lose today in his match. I watched the end of his match. He did not look that great, but he still looked okay. I think he could beat Manarino, but Grigor Dimitrov also has a good, more open run to go far in this tournament. Next draw, we have Zhang from China, the 32nd ranked player, with Struff, Medvedev, Kovacevic, I knew I said that right, Muller, and Gaston. Medvedev has a wide open run too. Zhang is not a pushover, but I think one of these three could probably beat him. I don't know a lot about either of them, so I think Zhang could have a good run, but Medvedev, who's been okay on grass, I like his chances as well. I know I'm liking the big seats a lot, but this is where it could possibly change. Alcaraz, if no one knows what this flag is, that's Estonia, which is absurd because I've never seen an Estonian tennis player before. No offense to Estonia, but it's Alcaraz. He should beat the Estonian player. Offner, I think, beats Vukic, which probably sets up Tiafoe to play Koric. Tiafoe's looked really bad recently, so I think he could be vulnerable. But I like Alcaraz's path as well. Next part of the draw, Sebastian Baez from Argentina. You like Humbert, Shevchenko, Liam Brody, who's had a good experience in Wimbledon before. I think he could be the one that could maybe shock Baez, but I doubt it. Baez has a very open route to go far. Tommy Paul, our next ranked player with Bublik. I like Bublik's chances probably more than Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul's more of a hardcourt player for me, in my opinion at least. Purcell is here for Tynan, Bergs, Kazaux, and Menchik. Next part, we have Bautista Agut with Navone Sonego. Casper Ruud, who I think is winning the whole thing, who could win the whole thing. He went, no, I think he might have gone far in the last one. I don't really remember. Next draw, we have Rublev, who has a great draw. Musetti is going to be his biggest problem. I think he might lose to Musetti, but I think that could be a good matchup too. Very vulnerable first round match is Korda of Davidovich-Fokina. I think Davidovich-Fokina could beat Seb Korda, but Seb Korda's serve is actually really strong, as is Davidovich-Fokina. Davidovich-Fokina has good experience in majors. I think he can maybe make some noise. Mackenzie McDonald is down here. I think he beats I'm not saying that. I'm totally getting it wrong. Nishioka, I think, beats Borges. Stefanos Tsitsipas is beating whoever's playing in this match. So have fun playing Tsitsipas. If Seb Korda wins, I think he could beat Tsitsipas, but the way you beat Tsitsipas is if you get in his head and it's a big serve. If you've learned anything from Nick Kyrgios, that's how you beat him. Next part of the draw, we have Taylor Fritz, who is playing with O'Connell, Nishikori, Rinderknecht, Koboli, Hijikata, Daniel Evans, and Tabillo. Daniel Evans, I think, could beat Tabillo, the Chilean. I think he beats him. Taylor Fritz is another. A lot of these guys are very open routes to the round of 16. I'm actually very shocked by this. This is where this could get really interesting. And it's led by a Great Britain player, Cameron Norrie, who's actually been really strong but sucks in majors. He's kind of like that Felix Auger-Aliassime type player who's good for like a decent bit and then just sucks. I think he could really make some noise. I have him beating Diaz Acosta and then probably beating Jack Draper, which would set him up with a match probably with Zverev. But then I think he could lose. Zverev is unkillable in majors to like the fourth round, so that should be fun to deal with. Hubie Hurkacz is the Hurkacz. I've now said it right. I've really struggled with the name in the past. He's in the next part. We talk about Cerundolo. He can maybe make some noise. Andy Murray's here, but he just came off surgery. He's totally not making it past the second round, unfortunately. But I do like QB Hercure's route. Here's another fun draw. Alex Demonure and Ali Asame are probably going to play each other, which will be very fun. Poulet, DeJerry, Munar, Harris, and Duckworth are also in this part of the draw. Here's another sleeper pick, and that's Holger Rune. Opens up with Quan. The only player who I think Chris Eubanks made it the quarterfinals. I think he could beat Kashanov. Would be very fun if Eubanks and Kashanov win. They play each other. That's gonna be a very fun second round contest in the middle of next week. Other players to watch out for, of course, you have Novak. He just came off surgery too, so I don't know how good he's gonna be. He does get a very easy draw. Echeverry's here, but he's not beating Novak. I think Novak will probably make it to round 4, then lose. So let's look at the draw. Who are my favorites to win this stupid tournament? And let's go. So how does this work? Well, we usually do not pick a top 3 player. So usually we get a higher seed, not in the top 3, who I like the odds of. And we are going to start us off with a pick from last time. I just trying to remember where his seed is. Yeah, there he is. That is Hubie Hurkacz. And why do I like Hubie Hurkacz? He would have to beat Demonor. Hubie Hurkacz is going to beat everyone down here. Who is an automatic player that would probably beat everyone in the bottom of the draw? Hubie Hurkacz would be my answer for that. Holger Rune maybe would be the toughest player he's going to face. Because Novak, with his surgery, we don't know how he's going to play. He could very well lose on Monday or Tuesday. It's very possible. Demonor would cause some problems, but it's possible that he bottles it. I think Hubie Hurkacz, with his recent major experience, he's been pretty strong. If we look at the recent form from Hubie Hurkacz from Poland, let us look at Hubie Hurkacz on tennis. We're just going to try and look at his recent matches because I honestly don't remember. He played in Germany. He did lose in the final to Yannick Sinner. French Open was not his friend. He lost to Grigor Dimitrov. But if you look at his recent plays in grass, he's been pretty good. He does a lot of things right. He went far in the Australian Open. He was gone far in tournaments before. He knows how to go far in a tournament. He's won multiple times, I believe, this year. He did lose to Casper Ruud once, which is actually kind of ironic. But listen, I think he knows how to get farther in these tournaments than a lot of the players in his draw. I like Hubie Hurkacz to be one of my favorites to win. Another one of my favorites I like to win. We're going to go towards the top. Casper Ruud would be a good shout, but I just don't think I think he would make it to probably like the quarters, but then lose. Another good shout, by the way, is Tommy Paul for this, but I think he'll probably bottle it too. Just trying to look through the list because there's not a lot of fun names for this. I mean, of course, I would love to pick Yannick Sinner, but that's too boring. We know how this channel works, you know. So let's go with, I think, another player from the bottom part of the draw. I like Zverev, honestly. Zverev would probably be my other answer for this. Zverev or Hurkacz. I think the top part of the draw is going to be dominated by Yannick, so I don't think there's really an answer to this. But honestly, it's very more open than you would think it is. I like Hurkacz. I like Zverev to be my big name players. By the way, we will briefly talk about the women's draw. We have Zverev and we have Hurkacz. My sleeper picks. So who do I like to be an underdog in this? Underdog players. Cameron Norrie is a good shout, honestly, because I do like him. But who's like a low seed or an unseeded player that could really make some noise? There's not really like a favorable draw for this. Honestly, Eubanks or Kachanov would be a great answer for this to beat Rune. I'm gonna go with Kachanov for this. I believe he's from. I actually don't know where he's from, but I'm gonna go with Kachanov, and then my other one is going to be. By the way, this is not for people to win it. It's for people to go decently far. Liam Brody's another good shout. I'm gonna go with Tiafo. I don't know why. I'm just picking Tiafo. I needed another name. For the women's side, we'll quickly go over the women's side because I know I've spent a lot of time on this already, haven't I? Yeah, we spent a lot of time. So let's look at the women's draw, or what they like to call the ladies' draw. Uh, Big draw for Swiatek. We know what Swiatek can bring to the table. Caroline Garcia, automatic upset pick. I'm already taking it. Caroline Garcia, easily. Easy pick is Caroline Garcia. She could be so good, and as a low seed, I think it's a very good draw. Ostapenko's going to be a tough ask, but I think she'd be Ostapenko. Looking through the rest of the draw, we'll go a little bit quicker in this, just for time's sake. Very easy draw for Swiatek. Garcia, the same other than Ostapenko. Danielle Collins is here with Hadid Maya. And Lauren Davis are probably the only people that could give her a real trouble. Korechkova is here at 31. Vondrasova's down here. Another good person to pick to win this thing. Rybakina from Kazakhstan. The only player who I think could cause problems would be Leia Fernandez, but probably won't. Kalinskaya is another good player at 17, but she's in the group, the draw with Samsonova. Ons Jabeur is here, 10th ranked in the world now. Svitolina is 21st. I think she could beat Jabeur, but honestly, another Jabeur pick would be too repetitive at this point. I script a lot, so we're going to go to Katie Boultier. She is in the draw with Jess Pagula. If you know the Pagula names, her dad's the owner of the Bills, in case you didn't know. Zhang, another good player at 8. She's in the group with Townsend and I'm not saying that name. I'm going to get her wrong. Emma Raducanu, if you remember, she's won a major in the last couple of years. She's a wild card. That's another good shout. Maria Sakkari, I don't have a lot of faith in Sakkari, so that could be very fun for any one of these players to make it through to at least the 4th round. Kazatkina is next, playing Zhang. Andariva is another good shout. Yastremska with Podoroskova. Sabalenka's down here. What a draw for Sabalenka, Jesus Christ. Sabalenka's got like the easiest draw ever. I'm just saying that now. That's the easiest draw she could have gotten. Paolini is here. She's in the group with Noskova. Andreescu can maybe make some noise, but I doubt it. We're going to keep it going with Kostyuk. In this draw is Madison Keys, another player I like for this. Azarenka with Sloane Stephens, possible upset right here. Naomi Osaka, another good player for a possible upset. Maybe beating Navarro and probably Azarenka. That could be a sleeper pick. And then we have Coco Gauff down here as well, number 2 in the world. So who do I like to win this thing? I don't want to pick a top 3 seed for this. So we're going to go with number 4. Hell to the yeah, chat. We are picking number 4. Where is she? I don't remember what part of the draw she's in. There we go. Rybakina is one of them. Rybakina has to be a pick. I just got to write this down. So I'm going to go with Rybakina. My phone died. This is kind of hilarious now. Hold on, chat. This is what happens when you're a small YouTuber. Your phone dies mid-episode because you forget to charge it. But I'm going to go with Emma Rybakina. I think it's a very good shout. We're going to go Rybakina. If Rybakina and Garcia. I'm just writing this down so like I don't forget to put it in my phone later. Who else do I like as my other favorite in the draw? A lot of options, chat. There's a lot of options. But the bottom part of the draw could be very interesting. Because there's so many possible upsets in this. Like Raducanu, she's had good major championship experience. Naomi Osaka, another good player with a good major championship experience and a great draw. Let's go back to Naomi Osaka real quick, chat. I'm not saying for her to win, but I like her as a possible upset. Naomi Osaka would beat Navarro and then probably be Azarenka. Yeah, that's my other upset, Naomi Osaka. That works for me. So who is my other favorite? Who should we pick as the other favorite to win this whole damn thing? Choices. Screw it, I'm going Jabor again. We're going Jabor again, chat. I know it's repetitive, but we're picking on Jabor. We are doing Jabor again. That is the Wimbledon draw. Enjoy Wimbledon. Finally, we'll be going to F1. We had the worst Grand Prix qualifying this morning. Well, not Grand Prix. Sprint qualifying this morning. And let's look at the sprint qualifier. So, this was a disaster from the start. We'll talk about why in a minute. So let's go from the bottom. You have Zhou Guanyu starting. This is the bottom 5. Was Danny Rick, Nico Hulkenberg, Valtteri Bottas, Albon, and Zhou. Logan Sargent, by the way, making it to the next round. He finished 15th because he DNF'd. He did not get a lap in. Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen. By the way, what Logan Sargent did, we're going to get back to that in a minute because something really stupid happened in Q3. Because SQ3, no one was going to the line, and everyone comes out with like 3 minutes left. Here's what happened. Mercedes go out, and everyone's like falling on the train, so they get like a slipstream and all that. Charles Leclerc's car breaks down in the middle of the pit lane, which screws up like the bottom 3 of Perez, Ocon, and Gasly. Then Leclerc gets his car to get going again. He goes, and by 1 second, he's short of the timing line and doesn't get a lap in. He's out. How does this happen again? Bro, how does this happen? I don't understand. Here's our top 3. It's Lando second, Max first, Piastri third. I know I said that in totally wrong order. My big expectation, love Lando to win the race. The overall, I think Max wins the sprint and Lando wins the overall race, or vice versa. I do like Piastri, double McLaren win. Sure, I mean I wouldn't mind that. Would you guys mind that? Double McLaren win this weekend. Piastri wins the sprint again, wins a sprint race again, and then Lando wins the overall race. Max DNF somehow, even though he's in front of me, like his second home fans, because like Austria and the Netherlands are like the border of each other or whatever. I don't know. But that's your sprint qualifying list after a complete shit show. I know I just got demonetized. GG's, because I could have said so many curse words this episode, yet I didn't. But here's your list for sprint qualifying. Sprint race tomorrow morning. It's very early. It's 6 a.m. tomorrow. If you watch that race, go ahead, buddy. Regular qualifying, 10 a.m. tomorrow. And the overall race is 9 a.m. on Sunday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports going on this weekend. Major League Baseball update also coming soon. And we're trying to possibly get some guests in the next pretty soon. Still in the process of that. But that's the end of today's episode. A little bit of a longer one, almost an hour. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.